why you should be concerned about Diablo 4. Guys, who's excited for Diablo 4? Hopefully they make the game pay to win enough to where I can win. Like, I think that if Diablo 4 comes out and it's pay to win, minimum we drop 10 grand. Minimum. Like, I'm talking about like the absolute, like that's like day 1, day 2 shit, right?
So we got a pretty major update for Diablo 4 this past week. During the Xbox Bethesda event, they revealed a brand new class, the Necromancer, along with releasing a 5-minute gameplay showcase, giving us a sneak peek at the game's development progress, various features, and future plans. And man, should I say, it looks fantastic. Gameplay and visuals have come a long way since the initial reveal in 2019. Everything looks super smooth, high fidelity. I love more grim, dark tone of the world. And there's a real nice variety of landscapes and environments that they showed as well. But not only do the gameplay and visuals look really sharp, but they touched on some really cool features. A full open world where we can explore as we please, riding between different biomes on our mounts, taking on camps of enemies, clearing strongholds that will turn into towns or dungeons, completing side quests and local events. There are massive world boss fights, and diving into any of the over 150 different dungeons. I don't believe
there's going to be 150 different dungeons. I feel like there's going to be like 30 maybe dungeons, and there's going to be different variations of that. That's all there is to it. Yeah, that's what I think. Like, what do you guys think? Yeah, it feel different? Yeah, I do. I think that's what's going to happen. Yeah, with procedural generation or something like that. Absolutely.
While hunting for loot. There's also a non-linear story that we can approach in whatever order we want. I am kind of curious how that's going to work for narrative consistency, but I'm sure they'll figure something out. Also, story kind of minimal importance to me. There is a full free-for-all PvP zones in the game where you'll battle other players for rewards. There's even this champion system where the best players will get marked on the map as high-value targets. Tons of character customization, and an end game that they say will be rich with activities and things to do for long-term progression. While most of this wasn't new information, it was great to get an update and see the progress that they've made in the past few years. In fact, my immediate instinct was to be super hyped. Of course, I mean, why not? This looks great. Everything they're
I'm sorry, but like, again, I just, like, maybe it's because I'm like a much bigger neckbeard, but like, I really am not super hyped for Diablo 4. Yeah, I'm sorry. Like, I'm not crazy. Like, I feel like the game is going to be mediocre.
Showing here looks fantastic. Diablo 4 seems to be making big strides in a positive direction. The game
the thing is, like, the gameplay looks good. I'll give you that for sure. But like, how long does something looking good make you want to play it? I don't know, like maybe 10 hours, 20 hours, and then it's like the problem with a lot of Blizzard games nowadays is that they're not developed well at the end game. Like the first 20 or 30 hours of a Blizzard game, I think every single time, even with Shadowlands, maybe you guys can be upset about this, even with Diablo Immortal, I think the first few hours of playing the game are really good. They're high quality gameplay experience hours. The problem is that the games completely fall off the cliff. The end game is half-baked, the design decisions are stupid, and it's just badly designed, and it's repetitive and boring. That's what I don't like about it, more than everything else. Yeah, it's the end game. The end game's awful.
A lot more modern with many of the features that they're adding. Personally, I love the more MMO-like direction they're taking, bumping into other players in the world, having
I think this is a huge thing. I was really happy. I remember whenever I played Lost Ark, I was thinking to myself, like, man, I wish Diablo was like this. This is so cool. Like, I wish PoE had more MMO features. Like, it would be really cool if you could go to, like, Oriath or something like that and, like, inspect people and, like, show off cool gear, etc. I'm not saying, like, open world PoE. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying, like, areas where you can interact and see other players. I think that's really cool. So I don't think that's a bad thing at all. Like, it's one of those things that takes away nothing from the game. It just adds in a little bit extra features. Yeah, social hubs are a universal positive for the game. There's nothing bad about them.
PvP zones, world bosses, dynamic events and zones that change based on what you do. I mean, all of this sounds like a dream for someone like me. And again, the gameplay and the visuals, they look as good as ever. But try as I might, I just cannot muster any sincere enthusiasm for this game at this point. And not because I don't think Diablo 4 looks good, not that I think it won't be a competent game that's fun to play, at least for a little while, but mostly because...
Well, I think it'll be fun for a while, like, definitely. And it's the same thing with Overwatch 2 that we watched. I mean, like, I'll be honest, the trailer for the Junker Queen wasn't really super cool. It was okay. Like, it wasn't, like, crazy good or anything like that. It was just okay. It was all right, cool. It was not mediocre. Yeah, like it was no. I'm trying to think, like, why was it bad? I think that it was bad. It's like, it was partially bad because it kind of played into, like, a lot of, like, tropes where it's like the strong female character and, like, the drunk. Honestly, it basically was a parable of Blizzard, right? It's a metaphor of Blizzard, where it's like, you know, the old guy that's just there because he's there. He's literally getting drunk there right on the job. It's like, man, this is a bit on the nose, and was just a lore and character intro. Yeah, but I thought the lore and character intro was bad. You see what I'm saying? Like, I think it would have been much better if you had made it more about, like, her as a personal character rather than, like, this super cool punk rock, like, girl that's just such a badass and she's so smart and cool and powerful. Like, it was very surface level and just cheap.
My expectations for anything from Blizzard at this point are just at rock bottom. Like, I don't expect anything from the company. And why is that? Well, I don't know. Let's just start with Diablo Immortal. I mean, what else can be said about this game that hasn't already been covered in extensive detail? Multiple in-game currencies you can purchase with real money to buy cosmetics and crafting materials, a season pass with...
What the fuck you want? An hour-long biography? I find it to be very odd that people think that this is bad. No, I want the Bastion Afterlife cinematic. I think the Bastion Afterlife cinematic is what Blizzard can do at their best. That was an S-tier cinematic. It's one of the best ones they've ever made. That's what I want. Yeah, no, and I'll give you, like, an example of Blizzard, right? Of the Hanzo cinematic was fucking phenomenal. Absolutely fucking phenomenal, man. And it's just, yeah, you don't need to have big explosions and stuff like that. It's like sometimes having and like you can, but like sometimes they're just not as appealing. That's it. So yeah, no, these are two other examples of Blizzard making great cinematics. I just didn't think this was one of them. And like the point that I made with Overwatch 2 is I was trying to make, sorry, I got distracted about this fucking cinematic, is that like now like half of the content that they're announcing for Overwatch 2 are like battle passes and skins. The fuck? And like now the game's not going to come out with PvE? What? It's coming out in 2023.
Multiple tiers of paid tracks, the Boon of Plenty service that grants you 30 days of bonus login rewards and other conveniences, the option after completing in-game activities like completing a dungeon to spend money to drastically increase your rewards, and then finally, of course, the legendary gem system that without paying is pretty much impossible to fully cap out, barring, I don't know, 10 straight years of grinding. This is hands down the most predatory, manipulative, pay-to-win game Blizzard has ever released. And
you know what I'm going to say. Yeah. Yeah, you know what I'm going to say.
Also, it's likely to be one of the company's most financially successful games ever. And therein lies pretty much the entire problem. Despite all the backlash, all of the YouTube videos complaining, the extensive coverage of every method the game uses to get you spending, the Twitch streamers showcasing how absurd the amounts of money you can dump into the game is just after a couple of weeks, and then article after article rehashing all of this just with way more pop-up ads. I don't know, man. I mean, there's an argument that this is a free-to-play mobile game just doing what mobile games have always done, and it's going to have no impact on future future Blizzard titles.
Of course
and
not.
I get that perspective, but also I'm pretty sure it's
Surely.
wrong, and that Diablo
Surely it won't be like the surely, you know, they'll decide that they don't want to make money. Like, absolutely not. Like, why would this ever happen?
Immortal is just a sign of things to come and the direction they're trying to push their games in. Mobile game monetization has slowly been creeping its way into the PC and console space, and now that Blizzard
I will disagree with him on the slowly part.
is getting a taste of just how much money these can rake in, with individual players spending tens, hundreds of thousands of dollars, that genie is not going back in the bottle. After all,
it's not.
why would you stick to the shrinking portion of this pie chart here? I think there's a fair concern that they are going to push their games more towards a direction like this.
I agree.
And monetizing many more aspects of it beyond the base price, beyond subscriptions, beyond even loot boxes, which are the kinds of things Blizzard have done with their games in the past. Now enter Diablo 4. As great as this game seems, as fantastic as that trailer was, and everything we know about the game so far, let's take a look at their monetization plans. So we know for certain that it will be a full box price game. So that's going to be $60 to start, or maybe even $70. Who knows? A lot of AAA games have been pushing for this pricing recently. On top
$70 for Diablo 4. Would I spend $10 extra? I mean, like, this is like, obviously now it's not a big deal. I just write it off my taxes. But I mean, like, before I was like doing videos, like, would I have bought it? Yeah, I probably would have bought it. Yeah, I probably would have. Sure. Write off, yeah.
top of that,
for
we
sale.
also know they intend to develop
To be fair, also, guys, I would definitely get my money's worth out of it, right? Even if I hated the game, I would play it constantly.
and sell expansions. These we can expect will be probably $40 to $50. We also learned at BlizzCon shortly after Diablo 4's reveal that they would have an in-game cash shop with microtransactions.
I would have
How
never
are you
guessed
planning to
that.
monetize it and like keep getting
Oh shit! I forgot he even did this.
funding, I guess, to like keep making heaps of content?
So Diablo 4 will be available as a base game, and as I said, we're going to have expansions. You also will be able to acquire cosmetics in the game through...
So MTX. Oh wow, that's going to be through some sort of...
I don't know why they're so ashamed of saying that. That's what's so weird to me. It's like, just say like, yeah, we're gonna have a cash shop with like fucking cosmetics and shit. That's how we're gonna fund the game. Because I hate how they do that, because it's like, it's like they're... It's like it's like, why, like, it's not bad PR, it's common sense, you know? Like just say what it is. It's not weird that a game sells cosmetics. Just say like, yeah, we're gonna probably have a cash shop with cosmetics in it. Cause like what I don't like about it, wash hands, actually did wash one of my hands because I picked something up off the floor, it was dirty. So I did actually wash one hand, but it's okay. I'll be fine.
shop, or can...
Yeah, it's very early.
Oh, wow,
So-
okay.
But yes.
It's very
At
early.
the time, they were pretty vague on exactly what would be in that shop, likely because they didn't know. I'm sure they had some
Well, I
idea.
think it's because they didn't want to talk about it, right? It's because they knew that it would be a conversation point, and the moment that they give any credibility to it at all, then everybody's like, oh my god, it's going to have like free boosts and stuff like that, right? You can buy gold. That's why I think you just get out in front of it, say like, yeah, it's going to have a cash shop, we're going to sell fucking cosmetics. That's it. It's that simple.
But hadn't fully committed to anything as of that time. Well, recently we got some further clarification, which people have assured me is saying that it will just be cosmetics for sale. Let's take a look at what exactly was said. So Rod Ferguson, the GM of the Diablo franchise, said in a tweet...
No way he watched my video. No fucking way.
To be clear, Diablo
Here we
4
go.
is a full-price game built for PC, PS, and Xbox audiences. We are committed to delivering an incredible breadth of content after launch for years to come, anchored around optional cosmetic items and full story-driven expansions. Then, Adam Fletcher, Blizzard's global community lead, said in a tweet, Diablo 4 is coming out as a full-price game built strictly for PC and console audiences. The game is huge, and there will be tons of content after launch for all players. Paid content is built around optional cosmetic items and eventually full expansions. Now, what I notice about these two statements, other than them being basically the exact same thing, just with slightly different words, is that neither one actually says it's only cosmetics that will be selling.
He watched it, bro. Yes, dude. Yes. Yeah.
Shop. The first tweet said that the game is anchored around optional cosmetics, and the second tweet said it's built around optional cosmetics. At no point have they explicitly said cosmetics are the only thing that will be for sale in the cash shop, because almost certainly they are not the only thing that will be for sale in the cash shop.
That's one way I would look at it, right? It's like, okay, I wonder why they didn't say it. Why is it exactly that it wasn't said? Like, what do you think? Like, I don't know. Like, because wouldn't it be like an easy slam dunk for them to just go and say, we're not going to have any fucking pay to win. All we're going to do is sell cosmetics and that's it. It would be a slam dunk. It would be so easy. It would shut down any concerns people had. And it would be that easy because it's not true. Because it's not true. Because of the NDA. Bro, Rod Ferguson is a senior vice president. Like, he would be able to fucking make it. He's the one who decides what's NDA and what's not.
Point you to a recent Blizzard career listing over on their website where they were looking for someone to fill the role of Diablo 4's product manager. In the job description, they said, Blizzard is looking for a passionate, organized, and driven individual to manage the Diablo 4 in-game shop experience. This role will be a key member of the Diablo 4 commercial team. The ideal candidate will combine their experience working in a live service gaming environment with meticulous attention to detail, strong interpersonal communication skills, and passion to delight our players. Yes, cute. Because nothing says delight for me personally than a game's cash shop. Anyways, some of the position's key responsibilities
To be fair, whenever you're talking about cosmetics, that's the only place where the delight comes from, because it's financially lucrative to lock the best ones behind said cash shop.
Said to include manage the virtual product offers of the Diablo 4 in-game storefront throughout each season to deliver an exceptional player experience.
Somebody said in chat, bro, you were against Blizzard sell transmogs on shop. It is better for them to sell the whole transmog sets on store than sell items and mats. Now, you have committed one of the cardinal sins in my stream. Misunderstanding something that I'm saying and then interpreting it as me being a hypocrite or having two stances on identical things. You have committed one of the main cardinal sins. Because I forgot your name and so many people have typed something, I will not be able to scroll up and ban you. I might check the VOD later on tonight if I have a bad day and, I might ban you later. But you pay a sub for WoW. Why do you pay a fucking subscription if you're going to have microtransactions? I think it is one or the other. You have microtransactions or you have a sub. If you have both, you're full of shit.
Touching on the fact that there will be seasons of some sort in this game and that those seasons will be tied directly into the cash shop. It's also said they will utilize internal tools to configure product contents, pricing, and availability, organize and maintain an ever-growing catalog of virtual products.
I bet they will.
It doesn't just say cosmetics, it says virtual products. Work with the analytics team to help identify sales trends and quantify purchase behaviors. God, it just sounds so gross.
To be fair, they would have never said cosmetics in a job description like that. I mean, so I don't feel like that is not, I don't want anybody to listen to that and think like, oh, this means they're selling other stuff, right? It's just products because this is somebody who is a product manager. Cosmetics, boosts, they're all products.
doesn't
Yeah,
it?
it's
And a
just a
handful
job.
of other things, all focused on the publishing, selling, and making sure that the shop is fully utilized. And the final bullet point here says the ideal candidate should have a passion for video games, although I suspect they are willing to let that one slide if someone doesn't meet the criteria. Now, this listing has since been removed, as apparently they have filled the role. I guess congrats to whoever that is. I sure hope you can fill us players with delight with all of the wonderful items you throw in the cash shop. I'm so excited. Now, I think the other thing to consider here is
I'm okay if they have a cash shop with just cosmetics. I don't care. But what if the cosmetic set from the cash shop gives you 10% more magic find? What if it just gives you like maybe 5? What if it's like maybe just what if it's like a little, what if it's like a little bit, like maybe it gives you like maybe like 5% move speed, like 3% move speed, something like that. Like maybe what if it's just like a little, because like the thing is, it's not a big deal, right? But I mean, but it is, you know, it's just a little bit. Don't give them ideas. I want to give them ideas. I want them to do it because in my opinion, I think that gamers are getting boiled alive and they don't realize it. And I actually appreciate whenever games go completely full Joker mode, mask off, clown mode, and they say, you know what? You're going to pay to be able to log on. You're going to pay to be able to do the raid. You're going to pay to get the loot from the raid. You're going to pay to kill the boss. You're going to pay to get the cosmetics to kill the boss. That you can give. Like, I want to see the whole thing because I think that's the only way that people can actually admit it. Then it's not cosmetics anymore. Yeah, but it's like it's really it doesn't provide any combat bonuses, right? So it's like it's kind of like it's not like you're really paying for power, but it's just like a little bonus for people that have it, right? So it feels better to wear it, right? It gives you 5%, 10% more magic find. It's not that big of a deal. It's like nothing.
that even if Blizzard comes out and says, okay, it's got a box price,
whatever.
we'll sell expansions, and the cash shop will only have cosmetics. Even if they said that, I'm kind of hard-pressed to believe them. Just remember that not too long ago, game director Wyatt Chen said, you can't buy gear that will make you stronger in Diablo Immortal. But
And that's the kind of stuff that, in my opinion, makes it way, way harder to believe them. That's the stuff that really pisses me off. And the reason why is because everybody knows it's bullshit. You know it, I know it, everybody knows it. And it's like whenever you use this, I've said this before, right? I'll say it again. If you're ever trying to buy something that you're not supposed to be buying, and even a tiny little piece of the transaction is not what was previously agreed upon, call off the entire thing. Because every single time somebody will do what they need to do on purpose, and if they don't, there's a reason for it. So is at the second that somebody is saying something that's like accidentally benefiting them, I assume that it's not an accident.
as it turns out, he said that because he doesn't consider gems gear, which, as we of course now know, gems, which you can buy, are in fact the main form of gear progression in this game. So
He's lying. That's what he is. He's lying. He's lying. I place literally no value in whenever somebody says something that's disingenuous or misleading. Like, if somebody says something that's misleading, to me, it's the same as lying.
Oh, you cannot technically buy a
it's the
chest
same
piece
thing.
or a helm. You can't buy that gear, but you can buy the gems that give that gear and your character the most of its strength. Like, this is how you progress. It's like, come on, man. At this point, I'm just not convinced that them using the phrases built around and anchored around when describing the cosmetics that will be available for sale in Diablo 4 is anything but an attempt to avoid explicitly saying that the shop will only sell cosmetics. All of that said, I don't think that Diablo 4 is going to monetize and have a system even remotely identical to what Diablo Immortal is using.
No, they're not going to fuck you in the ass with a carousel of dildos. They're only going to have 3, and it'll be your favorite 3, and one of them won't even be that big, and, you know, it'll be okay. Yeah, I agree. I think that's probably true.
don't think they're going to push that level of mobile monetization
You're right.
into D4.
I agree with
But
them.
I do think, on the other hand, that they've kept a real close eye on the likes of Lost Ark, for example.
Exactly.
A similar top-down ARPG with MMO elements that they would probably happily try to push the line as far as they can reasonably get away with selling.
I absolutely think that's true. I think Lost Ark 100% broke the ice for like other games to do it, because Lost Ark is a good game that's also pay to win.
Not only cosmetics, but convenience features, monthly buffs, experience, crafting materials, so on and so on. But
The difference is that, like, in Lost Ark, a casual player can access all of the content in the game, and also the PvE is 100% equalized. So Lost Ark is in all forms. I'm 1480 free to play. Yeah, exactly. Like, there's plenty of people in chat like PvP. Yes, did I say PvE? I didn't mean to say that. But PvE is also equalized. The hardest mode of like Vulcan, for example, is completely equalized. It's called Hell mode. It comes out, I think, this week or something, and it's totally equalized. Everybody goes in there with the same stats.
Say that they don't go that far, and honestly, I don't expect them to. I don't think the monetization in D4 is going to be like Immortal. I don't even think it's going to be like Lost Ark. I think what's much
Probably
more
not.
likely is that they emulate a model like what Path of Exile uses, which to
I'm expecting something like PoE, plus I also think that they will probably... I think that there is a good chance that the skins will be tradable. There's that's what my concern is. It's either that the skins will be tradable and or they will have small advantages and buffs.
II is
That's what I'm
largely
expecting.
considered to be a relatively fair method of monetization. Now,
Yes.
of course, the main difference here is that Path of Exile is a
free.
free-to-play game, and Diablo 4 is not. Diablo 4, though, will most certainly be double and triple dipping in a lot of ways.
Oh, of
If
course.
you ask me, in fact, right now, exactly what I suspect Diablo 4's monetization will look like, I'd say it's going to be this.
Okay.
We'll have the base box price of $60 to $70. We'll get expansions every 2 to 3 years at $40 to $50. And then the cash shop, which will absolutely include cosmetics, will almost certainly include pets and mounts. If not mounts, they will sell mount cosmetics, absolutely. And there's probably going to be some convenience features. Not all, but some. Experience boosts, potions that increase your drop rate percentage of getting high tier gear,
Yeah.
inventory expansion, character slot expansion. Some of those elements I really am sure will be in this cash shop. And then I also think that there's a decent chance they have something resembling a battle pass system in the game as well.
I think that there will be a battle pass, and the odds are they're probably going to use the same... I think that they might use the same system that Diablo Immortal has for a battle pass, where if you use the battle pass, you will be able to, get some stuff. But if you buy the collector's edition battle pass that will cost money, it will fast track you on certain resources. Like, for example, let's say yellow reagents for upgrading gear, or maybe it'll give you a unique item at a certain point, right? Like experience bonuses, something like that. I think that, I think no chance. We'll see. I cannot wait. I hope somebody edits together all of my predictions for Diablo 4 right now, and we can play them whenever it comes out, and we'll see how many of them are right.
Now, the hope, of course, is that if this all turns out to be true, and even if it doesn't, with the box price, with paid expansions, and then whatever ends up being in the cash shop, however that's configured, whatever is included, cosmetics plus, the hope is that they take all of this money, all of their earnings, and they funnel it back into the game to continue.
That's what the hope is. So what's probably going to happen is that that's probably not going to happen. But what will happen is that we'll maybe have some different types of different shops, and you'll be other items you can buy, and you can just continuously spend more money on the game, right? That's pretty much what we're going to have.
Development and add more content.
Helicopters are
how
not
has Blizzard's track record with this been? Honestly, not especially great.
Awful.
Diablo 3, for example, has had relatively few updates over these past 10 years.
It has had no updates, basically, until they go, like Quinn said it, they'll go and they'll change a set bonus. It does 5,000 extra damage. Now it do 10,000 extra damage. All right, there's a new season, guys. Have at it. Big fun.
specifically post Reaper of Souls, there really haven't been any major changes. If you played the game back in 2014, 2015, barring a handful of things, you've pretty much seen it all. But Force, you say, they don't sell microtransactions in Diablo 3. Okay.
Wait a minute. Wasn't this tile set in Diablo Immortal? Wait. Wasn't this one also in Diablo? That seems familiar. What the fuck? This is probably just like I'm misremembering.
But Force, you say, they don't sell microtransactions in Diablo 3. Okay, yeah, you're right. And maybe that's the reason there haven't been many updates. Sure,
yeah.
But they did sell the base game, which, may I add, is one of the top 20 best-selling video games of all time. And then on top of that,
Reaper of Souls was okay on release. I think that it was all right on release, but it was just... it's another example of, like, Blizzard releasing a game that's pretty good and then just either letting it slowly die because it has no content or taking matters into their own hands and killing it.
they sold an expansion. Presumably, they could have developed and continued to sell other expansions, or at least made any big significant changes.
Yeah.
And when compared to its contemporaries, like Path of Exile, for example, Diablo 3 looks like an abandoned game from a small indie team with how sparingly they have had any updates.
You think about how crazy that is that you have, just a handful of Kiwis. I don't even know where the fuck New Zealand is. I'm going to be honest. I have no idea. I think it's like somewhere nearby, like fucking Australia. But like, I really don't know. And they're off on this random fucking, I think it's like an island. And they're beating Blizzard Entertainment. It's crazy, man.
It does not look like one of the top 20 best-selling games of all time,
No,
which
it
it
doesn't.
is. But you know what? You're right. D3 doesn't have a cash shop that they sell microtransactions, so that they just couldn't afford any more updates. They couldn't do it. All right, fine. Let's take a look at some other games. How about Overwatch? Now, certainly Overwatch wasn't the first game to do this, but
Oh no, we're not gonna go through all the Blizzard games that have microtransactions but no updates, are we? We're not gonna go through all the Blizzard games that have had no updates after release, are we? Oh no. Oh no, no, no.
but it is often cited as the game that helped normalize loot boxes. So on top of their base game sales, they just have been raking in cash selling boxes with a random chance of unlocking cosmetics in them. And I should know, in my time with the game, I easily spent hundreds, maybe thousands of dollars on those loot boxes.
You wanna know how much money I ever spent on a loot box in any game ever, besides whenever I bought $200 worth of them for content for Apex Legends on stream? I have spent $0.00. I have never bought a loot box. I never would buy. Why the fuck would I buy a loot box? You gotta be an idiot. It was fun getting them out of Apex whenever I'd win, and it's like, oh cool, I got a special box. Let's see what's in it. Great, another skin for the gun I don't use. And that's it. Yeah, why would I ever, why the fuck would I, soon in Lost Ark, I'm not buying loot boxes. Like, I do that shit for content, that's it. Turn off the camera, I turn off loot boxes.
Which at this point, I absolutely regret. Not a mistake I'm going to make again in my gaming future. All of that money,
Smart guy.
well invested, right? They put it all back into the game and added a ton of content.
Yeah.
Well, the first few years, things were pretty decent. The game got around 10 new heroes, a bunch of maps, and new game modes. But then, around 2019, things really started slowing down. The last new hero was released in April 2020, and the game has basically been in a content drought for the years since. In fact, I was told they even removed a couple of maps from the game for the sake of redesigning them that just never got added back in. Now,
It's the same thing they did with Strand of the Ancients and WoW. Is that they were just like, we're going to take this map out because we want to make it better. And I don't know how many years ago that was. Yeah, I don't remember.
they've been working on the Overwatch sequel,
It's coming
so
soon,
I guess,
guys.
if anything, that is the justification for them not having many updates the past 2 years. But as many other people have made note of, on the surface at least, Overwatch 2 hardly feels like more than an update. I mean, yes, they are changing plenty of things, but also staying the same in a lot of ways, with much of the same roster of heroes. Mostly,
I think they're coming out with another alpha or something like that with Overwatch 2. I'm going to play it. To be honest, I like Overwatch. I find it to be a fun game. There are some things about it that I don't like, but overall, I enjoy the game. I find it to be fun, and I will play it.
The same abilities and many of the same maps. But I'm not really here to argue for the sake of Overwatch 2 and whether it's worthy of being deemed of a sequel. Just looking through their library of games, you will see similar complaints about lack of content and updates in many Blizzard titles. Heroes of the Storm has been on life support for many years now.
That, I don't think Heroes of the Storm it's fair, because Blizzard made a press release and said the game's dead. Most developers don't do that. They straight up said, like, listen, guys. You know it. I know it. Everybody knows that the game's fucking dead, right? We just wanted to come out and let you know. Stop making forum posts asking for new content. It's not coming. All right, thanks a lot, guys. I really appreciate it. And we'll see you next scandal. That's about it.
StarCraft basically might as well be on life support as well. World of Warcraft, while it does get an
StarCraft, I feel like StarCraft, I don't know, like, it's just, there's not really a lot, like, I feel like RTS in general has kind of fallen out of favor, so it's hard for me to say, like, StarCraft is what's the problem. I feel like, just, yeah, RTS in general is dead. The story's done? Good. Like, honestly, I think StarCraft could be a good mobile game. Like a smaller type game, like a, you know, like a fucking tower defense game like StarCraft. I think that'd be fine.
Expansion every couple of years. It has content that runs dry pretty quickly for most players, with huge swaths of time between updates that has been...
I don't know why people get mad about mobile games. As I said, I don't like the monetization in games. Like, mobile games fundamentally are not bad. I don't think it's a bad thing to have a simplified version of a game. I actually don't think it's bad at all. Yeah, it's not a big deal. It's not a bad thing. It gets more people involved in the franchise.
And a regular complaint over these past several years. The point is, even with in-game cash shops, even with subscription fees, even with the box prices, and plenty of other means of spending money, Blizzard's track record of long-term support has not been the greatest for their games. And given that
the worst part with WoW is that it's engineered. It's like, I was thinking about this. What year did Vulcan come out in Lost Ark? Yeah, like, what year did Vulcan come out in Lost Ark? 1984? Yeah, it's been out for a long time then, right? Right? Yeah, 2019. Think about how many games, 2020? Shadowlands didn't even come out until the end of 2020. Think about what came out in 2020 for WoW and how often you interface with it. And then think about the fact that you are still interfacing with Vulcan in Lost Ark. Do you see kind of like New Donkey? Yeah, I might watch that after this. Do you see kind of how that's a problem? How like whenever WoW brings out content, it's just like immediately dead?
It's a bulk of the justification being used for adding a cash shop into their next mainline Diablo title. I am not instilled with much confidence that they are exactly going to deliver. But
every other mobile game, or sorry, excuse me, Freudian slip there. Every other Blizzard game has not had very good updates. I will say, however, Blizzard recently has done a much better job updating Warcraft regularly. They have. They have done a much better job. They have made a lot of changes, a lot of patches, etc. They have. But it's still just not good enough.
Let's just for a moment put all of that aside. Let's put aside the precedent that's been set for how far they've pushed monetization.
You guys don't think that, like, I think everything after, like, everything like 6 months ago going forward, everything after 9.15, I think has been good. Pretty much. Like, they've responded to a lot of concerns and, like, you know, problems. I think everything after 9.15 has been pretty much fine.
In Diablo Immortal, what they said...
raid is way too hard. Sorry, I keep pausing, excuse me. The raid is way too hard. They've nerfed it again. They nerfed one ability by 90%. Do you know how you nerf an ability by 90%? Is you don't test it. That's how. You don't test the ability. And so, like, yeah, you have no testing on the ability. They nerfed it 20 times by now. The Jailer's nerfed too. Like, yeah, like, it really makes me mad that, like, you think about how many people are, like, focusing and, like, fixating on, like, testing and, like, making the raid good. Because, like, they obviously focus on this. They have, like, a laser focus on this. Whenever a new patch comes out, the new raid is, like, 70% of the patch. I'm so tired of this. I'm actually so fucking tired of a raid coming out, it being brutally fucking overtuned, just so Limit and Echo can spend 2 weeks wiping on it, so Blizzard can have the advertisement from Race to World first, and then gets nerfed 30 times. How is everybody who raids in WoW not up in fucking arms the fact that content is designed for 200 people? It should be released in the nerf state. You should release it like that. Not fucking nerf it 50 goddamn times. Bring it out. If people clear it fast, who cares? Yeah, it's just so stupid. People enjoy watching Race to World first. Yeah, but I think that doesn't. So people enjoy watching AWC. I think that I feel like the introduction of World of Warcraft being a competitive game, like a spectator sport competitive game. I'm talking like MDI, AWC, Race to World first. All three of these, I feel like all three of these have made the game worse for an average player. I think they have tangibly damaged the game. Like they have made the game worse, all three of them. And like, I don't know how players are okay with this. It's fucking annoying, man. World first don't get that much views. They do for WoW. They get a lot. Yeah, it's just crazy. The items have no value. It's just, yeah, watching doesn't equal subbing. League of Legends is balanced for Challenger. Many games are balanced for the top. League of Legends is balanced for Challenger. I think that's probably like partially true, but I think it's very different whenever you consider like League of Legends being balanced for that and the way that the way that like they balance the raid specifically. Not true? I don't know. It's partially true. Yeah, it's like PvP versus PvE.
And haven't said about their full monetization plans for Diablo 4, and of course their track record of supporting and updating games.
And you also have to keep in mind, like, it's not like the Blizzard developers are blind. What do you think? They'd never seen... They probably... I can guarantee you somebody at the Blizzard offices has watched at least 1 or 2 of my videos that works on Diablo. They've probably seen what I said about the game. It's like, if I was a Diablo 4 dev, I would watch videos of people reacting to it, right? Of course. Because it's like, oh, what are people thinking about the game? And why did they not just, like, come out and say... Why have they not just come out and said immediately, yeah, it's not going to be pay to win? You see what I'm saying? Like, they could have come out immediately and just said, like, yeah, it's not. Like, I know people have been saying this in the community. Like, it's not. Don't worry about it. We're fine. There's no reason they can't do that.
Money that they do make from box sales, subscriptions, cash shops, and loot boxes, and how in a lot of ways it's left a lot to be desired. Putting even all of that aside, I think there's still serious questions.
That's actually a really good point, is that like, oh, well, they can't do that because of PR. Mike Ybarra literally just came out and said, we're not doing NFTs in games. If your PR, Trey Ray with the 5 good subs, I appreciate that. If your PR is so oppressive that you can't even communicate with the public and your player base, then that's not good for the game. That's bad. Like, that's bad for the company.
About just the longevity that they will deliver in Diablo 4.
Exactly.
If you directly compare Diablo 3 to titles like Path of Exile or Lost Ark, it looks like a skeleton of a game. It's like pathetic. Those titles are so rich in the amount and the variety of content that they have. Yeah. Running bounties and rifts in Diablo 3 looks like a complete joke by comparison.
It is.
And I love playing Diablo 3, like the physical act of playing. It is really satisfying. It's got crunchy, impactful combat.
I used to like it a lot.
It feels great. But man, every time time I jump back into a new season, which I've done for the past 5 or 6 seasons
You are
straight,
crazy.
it lasts like 2 days before it gets boring again. Making
Yeah.
a character, leveling and gearing them up, getting a build going, all of that feels great. But once I'm on the process of farming rifts and leveling up my gems, it's like I've been doing the same thing for 8 years straight. But I keep coming back because it feels so good. But that coming back only lasts a very, very brief amount of time. So
See, I never did that. I never came back. I stopped playing Reaper of Souls in like season 6, and I feel like Blizzard has never given me a reason to come back and play the game again.
I really hope that they are able to deliver more and better content long-term in Diablo 4. Again, that is the entire justification for having a cash shop in the first place. Please, look at Path of Exile, look at Lost Ark, copy some of their systems entirely for all I care. Just add more things to do, because I expect playing Diablo 4 will be just as satisfying as playing Diablo 3. We just need some more content.
I think it will be too. It'll be fun for 20 hours and then you'll hate it. And at the beginning, I will probably put 300, 1,000 hours into Diablo 4, and then I will just be done with it.
More variety. Okay,
And
so
I'll
to
not
wrap
come
this all
back,
up,
probably.
I have to say, Diablo 4
what
looks
I'm worried
fantastic. I'll say it again. I am right there with everyone else who's excited about the game from what they...
I mean, I would say if I get 1,000 hours out of the game, somebody says, yeah, if I get 1,000 or even 300 hours out of the game, that's fine. Like, I will consider that a W. It's the same thing I said about New World, for example, right? Is that like New World, I think, was worth the $40. Even though the game was garbage, I got, if you take $1 an hour and you use that as the value, I got my money's worth. So it's not that Diablo 4 is going to be a terrible game. It's more that it could be a lot better than what it's going to be, or what it could be. And I think that's what happened with Diablo Reaper of Souls.
Shown. And I want this to be a great game. I want it to be a game I love playing, that's full of content, and that keeps me entertained for a very long time. And I would happily pay more than $60 over the long term for that experience. But at the same time, I just don't trust Blizzard. No, actually, I wouldn't say trust is the thing that I'm lacking, because Blizzard isn't like a close friend who betrayed me. They're just a company that's been severely disappointing over these past handful of years. I think a better way to phrase it...
Yeah, I don't want to get emotionally invested into this. If the game's good, I'm going to play the game. If the game's bad, I'm going to play the game a lot less. I'll try it out both ways. And if it's not fun, I'll just stop playing it. That's about it.
Is I no longer have any expectations of Blizzard. For the longest time, I held them in the highest esteem. They were one of the few companies in this industry that I felt always delivered a great gaming experience. And that expectation is just gone. And the recent release of Diablo Immortal really drove that home for me. Look, Blizzard...
I think it was everything after Diablo 3, in my opinion. Everything after Diablo 3 has been garbage. Diablo 3 and everything after that has just been shit. Like, yes, Mists of Pandaria was pretty good. Legion was pretty good. Yes, absolutely. But other than that, like, Overwatch was good. Yes, it was good. That's the point. Overwatch on release was good. I will concede that. I think Overwatch on release was a genuinely good game. It just failed to innovate over time.
Told some of the most beloved
Diablo 2
franchises
Resurrected
in
was good
all
too.
of gaming.
Yes.
Diablo,
True.
Warcraft,
Everybody
StarCraft.
says it's good.
These are each like literal pillars of their respective genres.
Yeah,
they
it's
built
massive.
them. They are the foundation of so many games that came after them. But at the same time, you've just completely squandered any and all goodwill that people had for your company and the games that you make, especially with this Diablo Immortal mess. I just cannot believe how far-reaching they went with that game. My hope for Diablo 4...
I can believe it.
and the rest of these franchises that they own that I love is that Blizzard can treat them and treat us just a little bit better. Make good games that are fun to play with plenty of content, and we will buy them, I promise. But if you keep going down this path of like...
I think that's another factor that people might not realize is that if you have a good relationship with your audience will give you more money. Straight up, no cap on a stack. If you have a good relationship with them, they're happy, you're happy, everybody's happy, things are good. That's what really matters. Like, I think Final Fantasy, people say that. Like, imagine if Shadowlands had the same problems that Endwalker did. Oh my God. people would be up in arms. They would be furious about it. It's like it would be dead. Yeah, and that's why. It's a trust.
Exploitative, manipulative monetization straight out of the Let's Go Whaling playbook. I don't know. I mean,
he saw that
you'll
video
probably
too.
still end up selling plenty and making lots of money, and maybe that's all you care about. But I just feel like Blizzard is just starting from scratch with every new release. Like they have to regain their any level of respect as a company. Frankly, that is where I'm at right now. I hope Diablo 4 is good. I hope it's fairly monetized, and I hope it has a solid amount of variety and stuff at launch and post-launch as well. But yeah, my expectations are just really, really low.
I think most people feel that way.
That's all it comes down to. That's going to do it for this video, guys. As always, thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. It was a fun one. I'll see you in the next one. Take it easy.
I feel like a lot of people, they've gotten to this point now where there's not even really a lot of emotion behind it. You know what I mean? There's not a lot of emotion behind not being happy with the game. They're just like, yeah, I mean, this is, it is what it is. It's whatever. Yeah, give Force Gaming a sub, like the video. We've watched a lot of his stuff. I think that it was Force Gaming who made a number of New World videos, and I watched pretty much every single one of those. And I just generally like the, I mean, he makes videos like I do, right? 20-hour videos or 20-minute videos about a fucking video game, just talking about it, And that's good. Watch Donkey? Okay, I'll watch fucking Donkey. Give me a minute. Let me talk about this just for a second, okay? It's basically apathy at this point. Yeah, exactly. Like, I mean, fuck. It's just, it's really frustrating to see a company become what it is. We as gaming community need to stop focusing on the companies and learn about people that make our games. Blizzard's not the same as good as people that made it great back in the day are gone. Yeah, and for good reason in some cases. I think that, like, really, like, I do think that, like, indie games are where it's becoming more and more the case that we don't need to rely on AAA developers to deliver high-quality games. And you see that with a game like Lost Ark. Lost Ark, Smilegate is very big, but it's not a AAA developer. Would you guys say Lost Ark Smilegate's a AAA developer? I would say it's kind of not. And I think this is probably the worst example, right? Let's go for a number of other really good examples. Let's look at Valheim. Valheim came out of fucking nowhere. 5 fucking, I don't know, like Nordic guys came out with this game, and it took the world by storm, and it sold over 5 million copies. It was incredible. It's still incredible. I wish they'd hire more fucking people, make more content. It's a great game. I want more of it. And anyway, you had that. You had Hades. Hades, small game, incredible. One of the best games that I've... Like, the narrative in Hades was just... It was so good, man. It was amazing. The combat, of course, was great, too. You've got... let's see. You've got Vampire Survivors. $3 game, tremendous, massively fucking successful, continuously updated. It's amazing. Let's see. I thought about, there's one more I was thinking of. I just couldn't get to. Fuck, I forgot what it was. But V Rising, yeah, V Rising is another one. We're actually going to have the developers of V Rising on for Allcraft soon. It's either going to be this week or next week. So that's going to be happening. And yeah, it's crazy. Like, I hope that people realize that the barrier to entry is much smaller whenever you have game tools that you have now, right? It's like with Unreal 5 and just like the amount of tools that people have to develop games makes it much more easy to get into the field.